Hey, welcome back to Know Your College Life with Lisa Beals. This is episode number 58. Yes, I did have to look at my notes. I'm trying to be proactive and record a little bit ahead of time. So anyway, I am your host, Lisa Beals. I am the Midwestern mom, college administrator who's done the college thing myself, put a couple kids through school, and realized we as college admin do not make it easy on you. We do not hand you or your student a handbook with all of the dates and all of the definition of terms and the glossary in the back. Nope, we don't give that to you. Instead, we have tons of jargon and thousands of websites that you have to try and navigate to find all the information that you need. That's where I come in. That's me. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you bridge that gap so that you can, instead of pulling your hair out and adding to your gray hair collection, instead, you can get the information that you need, that you didn't even know you needed, and pass that along to your students so you can instead focus on empty nester syndrome right around the corner. All right, you guys, so in this week's episode, we are going to talk about plan of study. Do you know what that is? POS, degree requirements, curriculum, catalog term, majors, degrees. All of those words are basically pointing to the same thing in that glossary of terms. So I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to tell you what it is, where to find it, how to interpret it, and when your student should be coached to ask for an exception to what exists on the current plan of study. Okay, let's jump in. All right, so the plan of study, curriculum, degree requirements, major, all of that is basically a university's acronym, jargon, slang for what are the list of courses that your student needs to complete in order for them to say, here's your diploma, Johnny. Great job. It's a list of courses, credit hours, grades, GPA. Sometimes there's an internship or experiential component that maybe not directly connected with a course. But again, that should be defined in there as well. Okay. So now you know what it is. What are degree requirements? It is, so just to be clear, you have the department or college, right? That's the School of Arts and Science, the School of Veterinary Medicine, the College of Engineering. Those are little neighborhoods, to use that analogy. Those are neighborhoods within the university system. When I was younger, I couldn't understand why Purdue University had a College of Technology. Are you a college or are you a university? Or are you a university? Did you have some identity crisis where you didn't know if you were a college or a university? That's the difference. The university, Purdue University, is the large ecosystem. And within that, you have colleges and schools that offer degree programs. College of Pharmacy, College of Vet Med, College of Liberal Arts, College of Engineering. Those are all colleges underneath the umbrella. Indiana University does the same thing, right? School of Public and Environmental Affairs, College of Education, College of Arts and Sciences, the School of Dentistry, the School of Medicine. Those are all little villages. Some are towns, some are villages, some are metropolises within the higher university ecosystem. Does that help? Is that analogy helpful? I hope it is. If it's not, message me. Let me know. I can break it down more. Okay, so each college then, so you have the university, then you have this college or schools as the next level, then you go down a further level, and those are departments. Departments are usually tied to subject areas, but not always. You could have one department that has multiple subject areas leading to it. Here's an example. You have the School of Management. Within the School of Management, you have econ and you have management. Those are two different academic areas within the School of Management. And then within the Department of Management, you have the subject area of MG&T, Management, MGMT, and OBHR, which is Organizational Behavior, Human Resources. So there's two subject areas feeding up to that Department of Management, feeding up to the School of Management, up to the University, Purdue. Okay, all that to say, the academic unit, management, has they call them curriculum committees, mostly. Typically, it's called a curriculum committee made up of faculty who will define of the bucket of credits. And generally, I'm in the state of Indiana. Generally, the state of Indiana wants you to not exceed 120 credit hours for a bachelor's degree. So the academic units, those faculty, they'll say, of this bucket of 120, what does the curriculum look like that we feel comfortable putting our stamp to say, when Johnny student has finished these 120 credit hours, then we're confident to say that they have the skills and the abilities and the critical thinking necessary to be able to, with confidence, say, this person has earned a Bachelor of Science in Economics from Purdue University's School of Management. 120 credits, and they're going to define what those look like. Now, in the state of Indiana, the Commission for Higher Education has got a little bit more in the university business, trying to define what those requirements look like. And a lot of it has to do with students transferring from institution to institution, and they don't like, the Higher Ed Commission, doesn't like that students transfer from IU to Purdue and they lose a lot of credits. And what I mean by that is, let's say I took 60 credits at IU and I transferred to Purdue. Not all of those credits are going to meet the level of rigor, or they're not going to have the academic outcomes, the learning outcomes are not going to map one-to-one with the learning outcomes that the faculty at Purdue has defined. And why should they, right? They think this way over here, they have these discussions. This is the type of person that they hope to develop over at IU, and this is the type of person that they hope to develop over at Purdue. So it's no wonder that the learning outcomes are different. So they don't map nicely. So when you leave from, when you take your education that you've not completed at IU Bloomington and you transfer to Purdue West Lafayette, you're going to leave some credits on the table that aren't going to meet a degree requirement. Now, let me be clear here. I could transfer from a program at IU to another program at IU and experience the same thing. I could transfer from one program, from one major at Purdue to another major at Purdue and experience the same thing. It's just the nature of when you define a plan of study, you don't have it in mind that students are going to move. When I was back in undergrad so many years ago, I was considering transferring from my regional campus, pursuing a communications degree. I was considering moving that to the Indianapolis or the Bloomington campus. Same degree. The requirements were different. I was gonna be another semester or two finishing the requirements they had there, because their faculty there were defining the requirements. My daughter started her nursing degree at IUPUI, the IU campus in Indy. Closely affiliated with the School of Medicine. When she realized that she did not like that very urban environment, she transferred back to the regional campus at home. She lost an entire semester because the requirements set forth by the faculty in Indianapolis were different than the faculty that set forth the requirements at Kokomo. It's not a new phenomenon, it is what it is. That was a long way to get to my point. This Indiana Commission for Higher Education, which I'm going to guess other state commissions, the federal Department of Education, this is a problem they're trying to figure out, right? Without overstepping the academic freedom that faculty have to define what a degree is made of. So here's what they're doing. They've created this bucket of 60 credits and they're calling it the kind of the state core. There's an acronym for it, but it doesn't really matter. And other states may have it. But there's a state core made up of 60 credits. And when is it 60? No, I think it's 30. Stand by. 30. 30. 30. So the state core is 30 credits. When you can check the box, I'm doing this backwards, I think. When you can check the box on the state core, then you are guaranteed to check the box at any public institution within the state of Indiana. I think several of the smaller privates have decided to get on board with this just to help with the transferability to entice Johnny student to come to their university from a public. But nonetheless, so that's what the state is involved in. A state core, when you complete 30, that's checking a box. It's the basics, right? Oral communication, written communication, some basic math, some basic civics, some basic science. 30 credits, check a box, which is great. I think it's helpful. If you're starting and finishing at the same institution, I don't know that it gets you anything. But life happens, right? Life happens, and sometimes you can't stay put. Okay, I went off on a tangent. I'm sorry, but that was important information for you to know. You did need to know that. So, degree requirements are the number of credits. Of that 120, the university academic unit gets to decide what is the makeup of those 120 credits. What is the minimum GPA that you need to earn a degree in mechanical engineering? Is it a 2.5? Is it a 3? Is it a 3.2? They get to define that. Then typically the institution remember the big high level, the university up at the top? The university up at the top gets to say, still 120 minimum, because there are some institutions that get an exception to exceed that 120 cap from the state. Engineering's one. I think landscape architecture is one that I know of at Purdue. I'm out of the loop a little bit on the IU side of the house and with the other Big Ten. So if you're curious, ask. I'll do some research for you. But the university level, the high level, says 120. Minimum 2.0. They want you to at least have that C average for all your courses. Even though, let's say in engineering, you have to have a higher GPA to graduate with their degree. The university has a basement level, and then academic programs can require a little bit more of you. The university level also is going to say, you have to have X number of classes at my institution. That's because I don't want you to take 115 credits at Ivy Tech and then take 5 credits at Purdue, and you expect that I'm going to hand you a Purdue University degree. Now, chances are that's never going to happen because the faculty has designed the curriculum so that you can't take 120 of your required credits at Ivy Tech. They've designed it so that at least 30 of the courses that are in your major, so those ME courses, I'm going to guess this is how faculty do it. It's just the natural occurrence of how they define their plan of study. Probably at least 30 of those credits are going to be within that specific discipline. So you can't get them somewhere else. They're not defined anywhere else. But the university has that safety net to kind of ensure that I'm not giving away a degree to someone that has not really had even one semester at my institution. There's some, integrity, I would say, tied to that. I don't know. That's just how it is. Okay. The next thing about the what is degree requirements is you got to know, your student needs to understand catalog term. And I will be completely honest with you, up until about, 8 to 10 years ago, it wasn't widely understood at my institution because so many of my advisors did paper plans of study with the students. So they didn't really understand. They understood it, but it wasn't critical to really maintain that in the system. I have known this for years just because the institutions that I've worked at have used this online tool to manage students' ability to track their progress. So having an accurate catalog term for my record was important because otherwise I couldn't track my progress accurately with your degree audit tool. Catalog term. That is the semester in which I declared and started pursuing this degree. Here's an example. I started my education at Indiana University in 2020. I came into that program, let's say, as a health and human science. I wanted to study psychology. So my catalog term for psychology is fall of 2020. However, in fall of 22, I realized that was not a good fit for me. I think instead I want to be an English major because I want to teach. So I'm going to get my BA in English and then move on for my master's and maybe even a PhD. So I'm going to shift. In fall of 22, I'm shifting now to English. Now as a student, because I have been at Purdue or IU, wherever, I've been at the institution since fall of 20, I could either say, okay, you're going to drop me in a fall 22 catalog term for English because that's when I told you I wanted to pursue it. Or I could legitimately say, I want to follow the fall 20 catalog term because that's when I started at the institution. And that is the plan of study that I have been tracking so that I could get the GPA and the prereqs that I needed to be accepted into that program. Does that make sense? So I can't tell them I want a fall of 18 plan of study because I was still in high school then. Not really, but let's just pretend because we are pretending. But I couldn't tell them and have any expectation for them to agree that I'm going to use a fall of 18 plan of study because I was not even admitted to the university. So generally your catalog term is in sync with either when you started at the university or when you first declared that major, whichever is later. And honestly, your students should do their homework and they should choose the catalog term that gets them to the finish line fastest. So if requirements changed in fall of 22, and maybe there's 2 classes that I really wasn't looking forward to taking that are not on my plan of study, I may opt in to the newer plan of study because it saves me that headache. Or, it could work in reverse, right? It could be fall of 20 catalog term is better for me because it doesn't have this additional course required for me. So there's that. They need to do their homework, compare them both, and see which one gets them where they need to, which one gets them to the finish line fastest. All right, so that's what a plan of study is. That's all the jargon. Where to find it. All right, so generally, let me look at you. Generally, you can do a search in the university catalog or bulletin. Those seem to be interchangeable terms. Do a search there, or your student can go to the departmental website. So the English department, the history department, the cybersecurity department. They could go to that website and look up a plan of study. If they're looking for an older catalog term, they're probably not going to find it there. They're probably going to have to go to the university catalog or bulletin to find an older plan of study. But those are options for looking for it. And again, like always, if your student can't find it, they can DM me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm happy to help them. I'm happy to help them. Because I promise you, I'll show them how to do it once and they'll know. They'll know. Next is, how do they track their progress? So here's the thing. There are online tools that most universities provide free of charge in the student portal. It's their degree audit tool, so that a student can see, how are the classes that I've been taking, how are they meeting, how are they checking a box, what's falling in insufficient or not used, what's still to be completed, right? There are helpful online tools. I am of the mindset, trust but verify. So what I recommend, because I've seen too many students get burned because there was a flaw in the audit. Someone missed validating something. Someone missed providing an update to the people that code those things. And here they are in March of their final semester when they plan to graduate in May, and there's no time to take any action. And they're hosed. And they have a job lined up. Worst case scenario. So I always say, trust but verify. So if I were your student, I would either print off that plan of study or I would create a spreadsheet. Copy paste those degree requirements, drop them in there, and then add a column. What semester did I take them? What grade did I earn? So they can babysit and double check what that online audit says and compare it to what the plan of study was. I'm just saying, it's good advice. How long could that possibly take them? Probably 5 minutes a semester, maybe 15 to set it up initially, but then realistically, maybe 5 minutes a semester to update it. Is that worth saving yourself some headache in that final semester? I got that call myself for my oldest. I got a C-, I needed a C. What the heck am I supposed to do now? I'm graduating. I was supposed to graduate in 8 weeks. I have a job lined up. What am I supposed to do? I'm glad you asked, because the next thing I'm going to talk about is how and when to ask for exceptions. Here we go. So life can and will throw a curveball. This is just, if 2020 has taught us nothing, is life can and will throw us curveballs. Okay, so one scenario where your student may consider asking for an exception would be, they have the university required 2.0 GPA, but something has happened and they don't meet that 3.2 departmental GPA. They may have a 3.19 GPA. You kidding me? I'm telling you, it happens. It happens. If I were that student, I would definitely have my advisor go to the faculty chair to say, here's the deal. Now, I should be one of those students where my advisor feels absolutely confident going to bat for me. I am on top of things. I have paid attention to things. I have been active on campus. I have been an engaged student. I have a job lined up. It should be a no-brainer for that faculty chair to grant that exception for me, because I have built my reputation during my undergraduate career. Okay? There's one scenario. Your student could need a course that's no longer offered, or that's offered in an off semester. So I transferred in, I had a semester off, there's been COVID, and I need this course in the spring to graduate, but the academic unit doesn't offer it again until fall. It's really not in their best interest to delay me an entire semester for one course. So I'm going to go to my advisor and say, is there another course offered this semester? And if I'm a student and I have been paying attention to my plan of study and keeping my spreadsheet, I would know at the time I'm registering for spring that this course is not available and that I have problems. So I should be paying attention to this in October the year before, and we're going to work on a resolution that far in advance. So I'm going to go to my advisor and tell them what can the academic unit do to offer me a substitution. I see X, Y, and Z, or 1, 2, and 3. I see these two courses that are similar in flavor. Can I take one of those? And will the faculty chair sign off on that as a substitution? That's totally reasonable. Something else that I see students do is they have a faculty mentor that is willing to teach an independent study with them to meet that requirement. Is that amazing? Faculty really, honestly, you guys, some faculty get bad raps, but I rarely run across a faculty member who does not truly want what's in the best interest of those students to get them a degree and to get them out on time or early. Here's the last one. And this happened to my daughter. So she's in her final semester. I told you she got a C- in one of her elective courses. I think it was ethics or political science. She's a nurse, so ethics, yes, is important as a nurse, but political science maybe not so much. But she got a C-, and in the curriculum, everything that you take your last 2 years has to be a C or higher, whether it's a core course or not. She got a C-. Egads, people. Now, it was a first 8-week course. Was it? I don't even think it was that. But she was freaking out, and she was messaging me. And I'm like, look at your plan of study. What do you have that's in excess that might check that box? So she looked at her plan of study, and like I said, she transferred from Indianapolis to Kokomo, so she had some stuff that was not being used. She had a women's study class that she got an A- in that was sitting down here in the bottom, not used at the Kokomo campus. She emailed her advisor to say, here's the dealio. I want to graduate. Will you ask if the faculty chair will take this women's study in place of this political science course so that I can get my degree? It was that easy. She drafted a professional email outlining the situation, took responsibility, offered a suggested solution, and respectfully asked for consideration. They got back to her within a day, and she could breathe again. And she got her degree. No delay. There you go. All right, you guys. Plan of study, degree requirements, curriculum, majors, all of the stuff. I hope this was helpful. And if it was, please share this with a friend and tag me in it. Tag me on your share to the friend so that I can thank you for the share. And if you don't mind, would you mind going on iTunes and giving me a review? Because that tells iTunes that someone's listening to me. And I would appreciate you sharing that. And when you're on iTunes, give me a 5-star. I would love a 5-star. If you don't give me a 5-star, that's cool. I can handle it. But if you don't give me a 5-star, I know you're going to give me some feedback on where I can improve. What are my gaps? Because I'm not foolish enough to know that I'm perfect. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But where am I missing? Where am I dropping the ball in helping you? So give me a review. give me 5 stars. If you don't give me 5 stars, you're going to just do some more typing because you're going to give me feedback. And then do me a favor. I know I've asked for so much already. Do a screenshot of your review before you hit submit and send it to me on a DM. Because this girl, I don't have very many reviews, so I can't see them. And maybe there's a way to see them and I just haven't figured it out yet. And, in which case you might be asking yourself, why am I even listening to you? But it is what it is. It is what it is, right? All right, you guys, this was fun. I had a great time pulling this together and sharing with you. And I so value your time because I know y'all are busy. You're busy moms. There's a lot to do. So thank you so much for spending time with me and hanging out. Until next week, take care.